Penn Central, the less than successful merger of the New York Central and Pennsylvania railroads, and often an operating nightmare, provided trackside train watchers, including Emery Gulash, with plenty of rail action vintage vignettes in Michigan and Northern Ohio in 1970 and 1971. Join with Emery and Green Frog as we relive this era in Penn Central 2. It's a cold January 1970 at Millbury, Ohio, as a train of trailers on flat cars ducks under the signal bridge as it heads east on Track 1. The caboose, or cabin car, is in PC green. The next eastbound at Millbury is headed up by 3 EMD-F units, with the lead unit still carrying the New York Central emblem, and a single Alco locomotive. The power lash-up has quite a collection of cars behind it. Emery believes that most of them are empties being returned to the automobile parts plants for reloading with returned stock. Seen throughout this video are cars from many of the now fallen flag railroads that still operated in the early 1970s. Snow is also on the ground at Toledo. Emery found an EMD GP40 and an Alco Century 425 heading up another train of empty cars. The engineer of number 64, coming out of the Toledo Union Station with a repainted Penn Central and former New York Central power, notches out the power once the train is clear of the Maumee River Bridge in the background. The B-60 baggage cars are carrying mail. Steam for train heat billows out from under the rear car. The Penn Central merger provided opportunities for operating efficiencies, such as with this train, ML9, by using track connections to run directly between formerly separate railroads. ML9 will turn off the former New York Central main line here in Toledo to what had been the main line of the Pennsylvania Railroad, for a shorter run to Detroit. The two former New York Central locomotives still sport the NYC oval. During the period leading up to the merger, it was common for the power of the two railroads to be painted with the road number and emblem of their respective companies, but the railroad name was not painted on them. This was also the era before the sides of tri-level automobile cars were closed in to curtail vandalism. Baltimore and Ohio Railroad had a connecting track with the Penn Central at Toledo. Here it is being used by a passenger train as the Cincinnatian, train number 54, comes around the curve. The paint scheme on B&O Power was becoming more Spartan in the early 1970s. This unit has the round emblem on the nose, the large initials on the flanks, a yellow frame, and lots of plain blue paint. The Cincinnatian enters Toledo Union Station. From there, it will continue on to Detroit. Next up is a Penn Central local freight scurrying about. Emery liked to play tricks with his camera every once in a while. This train has cars from Stanley Yard headed to Toledo Industries. An eastbound freight is leaving Toledo. Of the two EMD locomotives, number 6006 is an SD35 and number 6917 is an SD9. Both units were originally Pennsylvania Railroad power. It's February 1970, and Emery is 2 miles east of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Penn Central passenger train number 355 is running on the former New York Central's water level route, headed for Chicago. The train has ducked under the U.S. Route 12 highway bridge and is now alongside the frozen Huron River.